Hello students, welcome to UGC EPG Pathshala course on criminology. I am Neeraj Tiwari, Assistant Professor of Law at National Law University Delhi, and I am here to present the module on Socioeconomic Analysis of the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act 1985. This module falls in the paper on social legislations and crime. Let us begin with the introduction of this module. India has a very deep-rooted history of conventional drugs like ganja, known as cannabis, and opium. Cannabis had traditional cultural use in most part of the country. These drugs were socially accepted and they continue in a significant way in rural setup of whereas urban Indian population fall a prey to the dangerous drugs like heroin and psychotropic substances. In India, the regulation of narcotic drugs started quite early. Before independence, the regulatory regime for narcotic drugs was spread over in various legislations. But the genesis of drug control laws can be traced back to the Opium Act of 1857. The initial legislations like Opium Act 1857 and Opium Act of 1878 were enacted for the purpose of protecting business interest rather than to protect society from drug abuse. Early studies show that these legislations were used as instruments to protect the British monopoly of Indian opium and to control the related activities like possession, sale, purchase, transport, etc. The intention of British ruler was to generate revenue by exporting opium produced in India, but it has adversely affected local people. The Dangerous Drugs Act of 1930 was enacted with an aim to suppress the traffic and abuse of dangerous drugs. The act was passed to fulfill Indian obligation to the Geneva Opium Convention of 1925. The Drugs and Cosmetics Act of 1940 was another pre-independence legislation which was aimed to control manufacturing and distribution of drug formulation containing narcotic drug or psychotropic substance. These laws held the field even after independence. The post-independence era witnessed new challenges. Many non-conventional drugs like morphine, heroin, cocaine, etc. have started capturing the market. At the same time, the geographical positioning between world's two bigger illicit sources, Golden Crescent and Golden Triangle, has also pushed the lawmakers to bring new regime to deal with the menace of drug abuse. The then existing legal regime had many deficiencies, which made it difficult to tackle the illicit drug traffic and drug abuse cases efficiently. While the narcotic cases were on the rise, the existing laws did not have proper mechanism to deal with the same. The punishment provided in these laws for drug offenses was inadequate. For example, the Dangerous Drugs Act of 1930 provides for a maximum term of imprisonment for 3 years with or without fine and 4 years imprisonment with or without fine for repeat offenses. The issue of transit drug trafficking was not addressed at all. In recent years, many new psychotropic substances have appeared on the scene, which were not adequately covered by these legislations. Moreover, these laws were not in consonance with our obligation under various international instruments. There was want for comprehensive mechanism to deal with psychotropic substances in the manner as envisaged in the Convention on Psychotropic Substances 1971. Therefore, need has arisen to address these issues and revamp the entire legal mechanism to deal with growing instances of narcotic related activities. This has led to the birth of narcotic drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act of 1985, to be referred hereinafter as NDPS Act. The NDPS Act has replaced the two Opium Acts and the Dangerous Drugs Act of 1930. The Drugs and Cosmetics Act continues to be in force. In this way, the laws on drug abuse have been consolidated at one place. Now, let us see what are the learning objectives of this module. So, first and foremost, this module is to apprise the students of the development of law on narcotics in India. Secondly, it is to inform about the international conventions on prevention of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. Thirdly, to explain the drug control mechanism under the NDPS Act as well. Now let us begin the discussion on international instruments which deal with narcotic drugs. So it will not be wrong to say that no country is untouched with the social threat posed by drug trafficking and drug abuse. The entire world is facing the heat of drug trafficking and drug abuse across boundaries. There are many efforts on national level, regional level, and even in international level to deal with the issues of drug trafficking and drug abuse. India is no exception to this. One of the objects with which the NDPS Act was enacted was to respond to the Indian commitments under various international conventions which deal with narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. In order to understand the law in better perspective, it becomes necessary to learn about the conventions and treaties on narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances which have direct bearing on our legal regime. So to start with, let us discuss the first convention, which is UN Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs of 1961. The Economic and Social Council of the United Nations adopted the Single Convention with the desire to replace all agreements, protocols, and conventions exclusively concerned with control of narcotic drugs and consolidate them in one single instrument. The objectives of the conventions are: first, to consolidate the existing international instruments on control of narcotic drugs; second, to simplify the control measures and to control poppy straw. Some of the measures adopted by the convention are listed hereafter. The parties to the convention are required to make the activities contrary to the convention as punishable offences under their domestic laws. The possession of drugs must not be allowed except under legal authority. The convention draws a special procedure for international trade in narcotic drugs. The export of drug to any country must be done in accordance with the laws and regulations of that country. The parties must seize and confiscate drugs, substances, and equipments used in or intended for the commission of any of the offences referred to in Article 36 of the Convention. The parties shall pay attention to take all practicable measures for the prevention of abuse of drugs and for the early identification, treatment, education, aftercare, rehabilitation, and social reintegration of the drug addicts. The single convention was amended by a protocol in 1971 to strengthen the extradition provisions for the offences enumerated in Article 36 of the Convention. Now let us discuss the second convention, which deals with abuse of drug and psychotropic substance. The second convention is on psychotropic substance 1971. The preamble of the convention clearly sets forth the objectives to be achieved. It begins with the concern of public health and social problems resulting from the abuse of psychotropic substances and call for determination from the parties to prevent and combat abuse of such substances and the illicit traffic which gives rise to such activities. The Convention restricts the use of psychotropic substances for medical and scientific purposes only. Each party shall, except as provided in Article 4, limit by such measures as it considers appropriate the manufacture, export, import, distribution and stocks of, trades in and use and possession of substances in Schedule 2, 3 and 4 to medical and scientific purposes. The possession of substance in Schedule 2, 3 and 4 should not be allowed except under legal authority. Every party permitting the export or import of substances in Schedule 1 or 2 shall require a separate import or export authorization. The parties take all practicable measures to prevent the abuse of psychotropic substances. Necessary steps should be taken for the early identification, treatment, education, aftercare, rehabilitation and social reintegration of the persons involved. Such party shall make laws, rules or regulations in pursuance of its obligation under the Convention and make all actions contrary to such laws, rules or regulations as punishable offense. The third convention is on illicit traffic in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance. This convention was passed in the year 1988. The convention reflects concerns of member parties towards the magnitude of and rising trend in the illicit production of, demand for and traffic in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, which pose a serious threat to the health and welfare of human beings and adversely affect the economic, cultural and political foundations of society. It aims at evolving timely and efficient mechanism to deal with international drug traffickers. The idea is to promote cooperation among party states by exchanging of information on a worldwide basis. In order to carry out the obligations under the convention, the parties ought to take necessary measures in their domestic law and make it a criminal offense when committed internationally. The possession, purchase or cultivation of narcotic drugs or psychotropic substances for personal consumption, contrary to the provisions of the 1961 Convention as amended or the 1971 Convention. The parties shall ensure that their courts or competent authorities bear in mind the serious nature of the offences related to narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances while considering the eventuality of early release or parole of persons convicted of such offences. The Convention extensively provides for establishment of jurisdiction over the offences, confiscation of proceeds derived from offences, narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances, materials and equipment or other instrumentalities used in or intended for in any manner in such offences, extradition of fugitives, appropriate use of controlled delivery at the international level, prevent illicit cultivation of and to eradicate plants containing narcotic or psychotropic substance, mutual legal assistance among parties in investigations, prosecutions and judicial proceedings in relation to criminal offences related to narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances are some of the other notable steps taken under the convention. Apart from these international instruments, at the regional level, let us discuss the SAARC Convention on Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances of the year 1990. The seeds of this convention were sown at the Islamabad summit in 1988, where the member states of SAARC expressed grave concern over the growing magnitude and the serious effect of drug abuse and drug trafficking, and discussed the possibility of having a regional mechanism to deal with drug abuse and drug trafficking. The convention will not only strengthen the cooperation and enhance the measures at the regional level, but also advance to achieve the promises made in the Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs of 1961, the Convention on Psychotropic Substances of 1971, and the United Nations Convention Against Illicit Traffic in Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances of 1988 more effectively. The SAARC Convention has borrowed many provisions from the United Nations Convention Against Illicit Traffic in Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance, provisions on establishing jurisdiction, extradition, confiscation of proceeds of offense, drug, material, equipment used or intended for use in such offenses, mutual legal assistance, controlled delivery, etc., are parallel to the UN Convention Against Illicit Traffic in Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance. Now let us discuss the Indian position as far as control of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance is concerned. As stated before, that in India, the legal regime is provided in the NDPS Act of 1985. So let us have an overview of this act. The NDPS Act was framed keeping in view the constitutional obligation as reflected in Article 47 of the Constitution, which says that a state shall endeavor to bring about prohibition of the consumption, except for medical purposes, of intoxicating drinks and of drugs which are injurious to health. The use of narcotic drugs only for medicinal purposes has also been highlighted in the 3 international conventions relating to drug, with the UN Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs of 1961, the Convention on Psychotropic Substances of 1971, and the Convention on Illicit Traffic in Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances of 1988. As discussed above, India has signed and ratified these conventions. Therefore, this Act prohibits, except for medical or scientific purposes, the manufacture, production, trade, use, etc. of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance. The preamble of NDPS Act sets out the goals to be achieved in clear terms. It provides for not only regulation and control of operations relating to narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance, but also for forfeiture of property derived from or used in illicit traffic in narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance. Various provisions of the Act aim to realize Indian obligation under different international conventions relating to narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance. Unlike its predecessors, the NDPS Act has widened the scope of law by conferring enforcement powers on various central and state law enforcement agencies. The statement of objects and reasons of the Act sets out following objectives. First, to provide a stringent punishment scheme. Second, invest central agencies with the power of investigation of drug offences. Third, fulfill Indian obligations arising under international treaties, protocols, and conventions on drugs. And fourth, control psychotropic substances in the manner provided under the Convention on Psychotropic Substances of 1971. Time to time, the NDPS Act was amended to further strengthen the law. So far, the Act has undergone three major amendments since its inception. The first set of amendments came in the year 1989 with an idea to provide deterrent punishments for drug trafficking offences and to make the bail law more stringent. Some of the key amendments provided for are following. First, non-suspension, remission and commutation of sentences awarded under the Act. Second, pre-trial disposal of seized drugs. Mandatory death sentence on second-time conviction for specified offences involving specified quantities of drugs. And offences to be cognizable and non-bailable in nature. Tracing, seizing and forfeiture of property of drug offenders. Later amendments, which have come in the year 2001 and 2014, were more focused on rationalizing the sentencing structure and liberalizing the bail provisions for drug traffickers and drug addicts. These amendments have brought deterrent punishment for drug traffickers, whereas reformative approach has been adopted for drug addicts by affording less severe punishments for them. Now we see Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Amendment Act of 2014, and we'll discuss the salient features of this Amendment Act in detail hereinafter. Now the amending Act has brought some vital changes in the NDPS Act. It introduced a new category of drug, namely essential narcotic drugs, which allows central government to list out drugs of medical and scientific use. Drugs falling in this category will be governed by a single set of rules across the country. Prior to amendment, each state used to have its own regulation to deal with these drugs. This has also relaxed the complexities involved in acquiring license for using these drugs. Now institutions willing to use these drugs would require a single license. These changes were aimed to simplify access to narcotic drugs for the purposes of pain relief and palliative care. The amending Act also abolished mandatory death sentence in case of a repeat offense. Now, the courts are given discretion to impose as an alternate 30 years of imprisonment for repeat offenses. The provisions for forfeiture of property of drug traffickers were further strengthened by this Amendment Act. The Amendment Act has brought clarification regarding the confusion between considering pure drug content in the quantity seized and the entire quantity of drug seized in the matter of sentencing. It was established that legislative intent is to take the entire quantity of drug seized for determining the quantum of punishment. The 2014 Amendment Act introduced the concept of essential narcotic drug to be used for terminally ill cancer patients. A new psychoactive substance referred as mephedrone was newly included in the list of psychotropic substances immediately after the amendment. But the NDPS Act is not free from criticism, and the major criticism of the Act is that it contains draconian provisions. The inhumane approach towards the drug addicts under the Act has also gained attention of many activists. The stringent bail provisions, mandatory death sentence is in some offences, and reverse onus clause are some of the instances for rendering this act harsh. The Supreme Court, in the case of Noor Agha versus State of Punjab of 2008, commented on this act in the following terms. The provisions of the act and the punishment prescribed therein being indisputably stringent, flowing from elements such as a heightened standard for bail, absence of any provision for remissions, specific provisions for grant of minimum sentence, enabling provisions granting power to the court to impose fine of more than maximum punishment of rupees 2 lakh, as also the presumption of guilt emerging from possession of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance, the extent of burden to prove the foundational facts on the prosecution, that is, proof beyond all reasonable doubt, would be more onerous. But the court has cautioned that a fine balance is to be maintained between the court's duty to give effect to the legislative object and intent in the light of international conventions and upholding the individual human rights and dignity as provided for under the UN Declaration of Human Rights. The court insisted upon scrupulous compliance of the provisions of the Act for the purpose of upholding the democratic values. Now let us discuss the drug control mechanisms under the NDPS Act. To control drug abuse and drug trafficking, the Act has envisaged various regulatory mechanisms. Both central government and state governments are conferred with powers under the Act to establish institutions and authorities to regulate these activities and also to investigate and forfeit drug-related properties. The Act provides for following measures. First, the Act prohibits all type of cultivation, production, manufacture, possession, sale, purchase, transportation, warehousing, consumption, interstate movement, transshipment, and import and export of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance, except for medical or scientific purposes. Even such activities for medical or scientific purposes will be carried out in accordance with the terms and conditions of any license, permit, or authorization given by the government. The Act prohibits not only intentional conversion or transfer of property derived from any offense under the Act, but also punishes concealment of any information pertaining to such property which is knowingly acquired, possessed, or used in any offense under the Act. The Act permits forfeiture of assets derived from drug trafficking. The central government is empowered to regulate and permit the cultivation, production, manufacture, import, export, sale, consumption, use, etc. of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. State governments are empowered to permit and regulate possession and interstate movement of opium, poppy, straw, the manufacture of medicinal opium, and the cultivation of cannabis, excluding hashish. To control inter-country drug trafficking, the Act prohibits and punishes every act of engaging in or controlling any trade whereby narcotic drugs or psychotropic substances are obtained outside India and supplied to any person outside India except with the previous authorization of the central government. The central government is empowered to declare any substance based on an assessment of its likely use in the manufacture of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances as a controlled substance. The Act makes all offences cognizable and non-bailable. Now let us discuss the drug law enforcement agencies under the NDPS Act. The NDPS Act is administered by the Department of Revenue under the Ministry of Finance. However, matters pertaining to drug demand reduction are handled by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Ministry of Health, Government of India, which is responsible for all health issues, runs several drug de-addiction centers in the government hospitals across the country. The Narcotic Control Bureau, under the Ministry of Home Affairs, coordinates actions by various functionaries, state and central both, under the NDPS Act. The central government is entrusted with the duty to take necessary measures to combat abuse of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance. The central government has created some statutory authorities to perform its functions under the Act. The Narcotics Commissioner has been appointed under Section 5 of the NDPS Act with an aim to exercise powers and perform functions to supervise the cultivation and production of opium poppy. The Central Bureau of Narcotics, known as CBN, is headed by the Narcotics Commissioner. The CBN has other responsibilities like investigate cases under the NDPS Act 1985 and filing of complaint in the court, to take action for tracing and freezing of illegally acquired property as per the provisions of Chapter 5A of the NDPS Act of 1985, issue license for manufacture of synthetic narcotic drugs, issuance of export authorizations, import certificate for export, import of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. It interacts with the International Narcotics Control Board, Vienna, and the competent authorities of other countries to verify genuineness of the transaction prior to authorizing the shipment. The central government has constituted the Narcotics Control Bureau to exercise the powers and functions of the central government for taking steps to implement the obligations under various conventions and to improve coordination among various authorities and facilitate foreign authorities in prevention and suppression of illicit traffic of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substance. Section 6 of the NDPS Act envisages setting up of an advisory committee known as Narcotic Drug and Psychotropic Substance Consultative Committee. The committee was constituted by the central government in 1988 with the following mandates. First, formulation of a national policy on cultivation of opium poppy and cannabis plants, production of opium and cannabis and other narcotic drug and psychotropic substance. Second, implementation of international treaties and conventions related to abuse of drug formulation of a master plan on supply reduction and demand reduction. Third, periodic review of the NDPS Act. Now let us discuss the key offences and punishments under the NDPS Act. The NDPS Act is among those social legislations which prescribes stringent punishments. The quantum of sentence varies with the nature of offence, and in most cases it is determined depending upon the quantity of drug involved. In the matter of sentencing, the Act departs from the usual sentencing scheme and does not make distinction between abetment, conspiracy, and attempt to commit any offence under the Act. The Act prescribes similar punishments for all these acts. The Act makes preparation punishable and provides for half of the punishment prescribed for the offense. The repeat offenses are dealt with more seriously, and in some cases, repeat offenders are punished with death sentence as well. The Act makes possession of drugs an offense similar to sale, purchase, and production thereof. Now let us go through the recent data on drug abuse and drug trafficking. The year 2014 has witnessed number of arrests for drug related offenses in preceding 5 years. A steep growth is noticed in the numbers of prosecution and conviction in drug related offenses. The prosecution jumped by 50% from the last year, while the rate of conviction has seen growth by 127%. The annual report of Narcotics Control Bureau of India reveals that the most number of seizures made in the year 2014 pertain to 3 drugs: cannabis, heroin, and cannabis resin. The cannabis seizure in 2014 has marked an increase by 20% from the preceding year. India has seen a slight decrease in seizure and quantity of heroin in 2014 as against the seizure and quantity of heroin in 2013. Similarly, the trend of decrease was also noted in opium cases, which fall by 24.3% in 2014. As per the report, during 2015, illicit opium poppy cultivation spread over 3,461 acres were destroyed all over the country. The destruction of illicit cultivation of opium poppy prevents the probable production of heroin. Under the NDPS Act, as well as under the UN Drug Control Conventions, the cultivation of cannabis is illegal. To further achieve this goal, illicit cannabis cultivation detected on area around 818 acres were destroyed in 2015. Now let us just go through once more to what we have discussed in last half an hour or so and see what are the key features which we have discussed as far as the development of law relating to narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances concerned worldwide and in India. So the preceding discussion highlights the passage of drug control regime in India. It also reveals that the inception of NDPS Act was to strengthen Indian commitment to control drug abuse and drug trafficking under various international conventions. The NDPS Act provides various mechanisms for controlling these activities, establishing NCB, CBN-like authorities, enhanced regulatory and monitoring measures, strict punishment scheme, provisions for rehabilitation of drug addicts are some of the notable steps taken under the Act. The geographical positioning of India between Golden Crescent and Golden Triangle makes its position vulnerable to drug trafficking. It is reflected in the data quoted above. It is also seen from the data that both instances of drug abuse and number of apprehensions under the Act are on rise. Hence, it may be concluded that even though the Act encompasses various draconian provisions to deal with the evil of drug abuse, but the ground reality has shown opposite picture and still requires efforts to make society free from drug abuse and to create better rehabilitation atmosphere for drug addicts. Thank you.